Good afternoon, dear participants. Today, Ukrainian Crisis Media Center is privileged to announce about the extension of the DOBRE Program, USAID, and we have 32 journalists who have been accredited for the event. DOBRE Program. This is a program about international technical aid to Ukrainian development of the self-governance. Today we're speaking about Dnipropetrovsk, Kirovograd, Ivano-Frankivsk, Ternopil, Chernivtska, Chernigivska, Zaporizhzhia, Kharkivska regions. DOBRE Program means dozens of youth media hubs, the medical equipment, centers of excellence, food entrepreneurship development, kilometers of renewed water supply pipelines, equipment for the municipal works, development of children's playgrounds in the cities, which are the product of development for local communities in the areas of entrepreneurship development, financial development, infrastructural development, etc. These were the projects carried out by local communities together with the DOBRE Program. And this support proved to be very useful in today's reality of the war time. USAID program decentralization bringing better results and better outcomes. And today we're discussing how the program plans to work, whom to involve, and what to do. I'm happy to invite to the microphone Mr. Mark Ellenstad, USAID Office Director on Democracy and Governance. Mr. Ellenstad, the floor is yours.
Praying during these very difficult days. It is my pleasure to be here today for such a pleasant, positive announcement. As you know, USAID has been supporting decentralization in Ukraine from the very beginning of the process. We believe that by supporting the development of consolidated communities, we can help to build a strong foundation for a dynamic society, effective and accountable governance, strong economic growth, and participatory democracy. In other words, a stronger, more prosperous Ukraine. Over the past 6 years, the USAID DOBRE Program has worked closely with 100 consolidated communities in 10 oblasts of Ukraine. This work has produced amazing results. The communities have proven to be excellent partners. Their local governments have welcomed the opportunity to increase their ability to meet the needs of their citizens and to improve their communities. Community residents have responded by taking an active part in shaping local policies and in addressing important issues in their communities. Ukrainian communities are now facing serious ongoing challenges: the loss of life, the destruction of property and infrastructure, the displacement and relocation of citizens, and the severe disruption of everyday life. We're very honored that USAID is able to support the DOBRE Program to continue its work in Ukraine and be with our partners during these very challenging times. I'm extremely happy to be able to announce that USAID is extending the DOBRE Program by 3 years, providing an additional $40 million of funding. Over the next 3 years, DOBRE will be working directly with over 60 communities, providing technical and emergency response to help the communities recover, rebuild, and resume a trajectory of positive development and growth. USAID assistance via the DOBRE program will be designed to help address immediate needs and also to assist communities in taking stock of their situation, adopting plans, and designing and launching projects for rebuilding and recovery. We're pleased that USAID, through DOBRE and many other projects, can support Ukraine in this trying time and work together towards a better future. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank our colleagues who work so hard to implement DOBRE, as well as all partners for the very successful long-term partnership. In closing, I would like to emphasize that U.S. stands with Ukraine. Whether it's our security assistance, whether it's our development assistance, whether it's our humanitarian assistance, or the direct budget support we're providing to the government of Ukraine. We will continue to support Ukraine in its fight for independence and freedom. Truth is on your side, truth is on our side. Together to Ukraine's victory. Slava Ukraini!
Герою слава! Дякую.
Glory to heroes. Thank you, Mr. Ellingstad, for the support and assistance which Ukraine is continuously receiving. And now it's my pleasure to invite Mr. Brian Campbell, who is not here today because he is now in Warsaw.
Indeed, I had to leave Ukraine actually in order to get my next Ukrainian visa. So rest assured, I am coming back. I intend to come back to Ukraine and be with it till the end of this program, if not longer. As you've heard, we have been very pleased to get an extension from USAID, a good vote of trust from USAID. And I think we can thank all of our partners, the 100 communities that have shown so much success, because the success is really owing to all of their good work, their dedication to helping meet the needs of their citizens in an effective way. And that has definitely happened. Now, as you may have heard, DOBRE was scheduled to end September 30th of this year. Prior to that, following Russia's invasion of Ukraine, DOBRE shifted directions to some extent. Some projects, of course, could not be completed or were no longer relevant. Other projects were suspended, and we have resumed them since that time. But DOBRE made a shift in its direction and assisted 8 of our partner communities in Western Ukraine over 4 months with procurements of material assistance to enable those communities to accommodate, care for, house the many displaced persons that had come there from other regions of Ukraine. As you've heard, the mission that DOBRE has now is to foster, support the recovery, rebuilding of communities, to help them cope with the new challenges and also take advantage of opportunities that have emerged from these very difficult circumstances. I'm very happy that we get to continue to work with Ukrainian communities and people throughout the country in this difficult time. Most of the communities with which we will be working over the next 3 years are already established partners. However, we've also added 7 new communities because our focus will be on assisting those communities that have had the most difficulty, perhaps the greatest destruction, the most severe setbacks, and so forth. Some of the communities with which we plan to work have been recently liberated, in Kherson, for example. Other partner communities of long-standing of Dobre's were occupied in Zaporizhia, in Chernihiv. So we're going to take the same approach as before. Dobre has always combined material assistance with technical assistance. And we have a wide array of directions in the technical side. And my colleague Angela Bocci will talk about that in more detail later. So we intend to, again, provide technical assistance to help communities develop their own procedures, means, mechanisms, capacity to deal with their challenges and become more self-reliant, more independent. Another important direction of ours is to foster cooperation between communities. As Mr. Ellingstad said, we think this is a great way to support the resilience of Ukrainian society in general. But at the same time, our first initiative, which we've already started, will be to direct to 35 communities for this year emergency assistance to help prepare them for the winter. And we are already in the process of, we've already worked with them closely to identify the equipment that they need, the various assistance that they can use. And so that is going forward. And then we will, in parallel, commence our other programs to support the further progress and development of our communities. I want to thank all of the distinguished speakers for taking the time to be with us today. I want to thank all of you who are interested enough to listen to this press conference. I want to thank all of our partners, partner communities who have shown such great dedication, resilience, good spirit. I'm truly impressed by the resilience that Ukrainians have shown. I'm glad I can be a part of that. I'm very pleased that we have a representative of the Ministry of Communities and Territorial Development because we've been had a very good cooperative relationship with them. They've been very supportive of decentralization. They've been very supportive of Dobre's work. And I have in mind in particular Mr. Nahoda, who was our direct contact, who's been extremely helpful in providing guidance and advice and support. And I'm glad we get to continue that relationship. I'm also very pleased that the Association of Amalgamated Territorial Communities is represented here because, as I said, we see an important role of theirs as fostering cooperation between communities, helping communities learn from each other, share experience, come together. And in that way, the assistance that Dobre provides can reach many more communities than we have the resources to address directly. Believe me, we would like to help everyone, but of course the resources are limited. So the association plays a very valuable role in disseminating that experience and helpful work and guidance to other communities. Thank you all again.
Спасибі, Брайане.
Thank you, Brian. You mentioned the Ministry of Communities and Territories Development. And this is within the 6 years now that DOBRE program has been cooperating with the ministry. And we have Mr. Shershov here in this room, representative from the ministry. Who would like to add a couple of words about those 6 years of the previous cooperation experience? What do you think we should preserve and take with us from that 6 past years? And what shall we take to the future, to the ongoing 3 years? What is the most useful and productive? During the years of DOBRE program work, it had demonstrated very efficient approach to the development of local self-governance. DOBRE program is almost a single self-governance program which worked on sites, assisting to the decentralization reform. One of the biggest achievements of DOBRE program is that in the amalgamated communities, they managed to demonstrate achievements and advantages of the decentralization reform. That was especially important for the newly established amalgamated communities. Some amalgamated communities were very cautious doing the first steps, and they wanted to observe more successful neighbors, and the Dobre program allowed to change radically the previous stereotypes about local community development. And I believe that one of the best achievements was that more than 70% of population residing in communities, scattered communities, made decision to get united in the amalgamated communities because they had seen the efficiency of the amalgamated governments, so to say. Due to the Dobre program, many amalgamated communities have strengthened their capacity, their governance capacity, and have found the development path. And now we expect the Dobre program will provide to us assistance in the new circumstances. Our ministry takes very positive the extension of the program, and we expect that it will provide assistance and advice in revival of the deoccupied territories, and we are eager to use the Dobre program experience of cooperation with those communities which now still remain in their occupation. And we expect that this program will be as efficient and will do as many good things as it used to be. Mr. Angela Bocci, what are the plans of your program? I would like to join all the gratitudes and thanks, and I'm happy that another 3 years we will be able to contribute to the development of very good things in the communities. As of today, due to the circumstances, we have to be very flexible to respond to these challenges. Of course, we'll try to apply the systemic approach to all the process, but nevertheless, we understand that more flexible approach will be needed. Our program is very inclusive. That is, we very actively involve local residents and local governments to the development of their priorities and expression of their needs. I read a lot of questions which were posted in chat. What were the main criteria for selection of the first 60 communities with which we are going to work during the next 3 years? Much depended on the degree of harm, so to say, committed to each community. We'll also reserved some space, some room for those communities which now remain under occupation, but we expect that they will be liberated. Also, we included local communities from Kirovohrad region, which experienced one of the biggest inflows of internally displaced people. Also, we assessed the outcomes which communities had in result of the previous stages of DOBRE program. So all that were criteria applied during our selection period. We expect that 7 new communities will join the program from Kharkiv, from Kherson region, because they were considerably damaged during occupation, and at later stages we will see whether some other extensively damaged communities will join the project. Because for us, the needs of local communities are the key. As for the management structure of the program, how it will be done, we have our rep office in Kyiv. Then we have our regional offices. Each regional office is chaired by the regional officer. Then we have a team of technical experts who will continue communication with our local communities and will provide advising to them. Also, we have partner organizations like UCMC. We have 2 Polish partners, FRDL and Malopolska School of Economics, who will assist in building up partnership relations between Ukrainian communities and foreign local communities, and support access to the partner support programs abroad. We have 5 directions in the program. First is planning. We understand that now focus has to be shifted to a short-term planning, not for strategic planning. Then the next direction is improvement of service management. Irina mentioned a lot of projects which were implemented, but actually a DOBRE program is about changing approach, that is about shift in paradigm, in approach to local self-governments. And today we understand that we have to extend our cooperation with those communities who suffered most from occupation and the outcomes of war. And we understand that we have to look closely at the needs of local population, not only at the management. Economic development is another important field. How to support development of local businesses, how to assist to IDPs, how to help to those communities who are ruined by 80%, how to bring business back, how to build up communication, and how to plan for the nearest future. We keep in mind grant support, and we plan hard projects which will assist local communities. Asset management, this is another big field. All the local self-governments had faced the issue how to get revenues to the local budget, and especially this is a big problem for the ruined communities. Where to start to build up the financial revival. One more big field is involvement of a broad public. This should be done on tailor-made approach in each community. There are communities which are deoccupied and up to 50 or 70% of population escaped. So all sorts of issues which will require broad dialogue, mediation, and building up communication in local communities. There are local communities with huge numbers of IDPs, and they also require a new approach to communication in order to bring the community life to new standards. In the past, we applied a lot of standard approaches about the numbers of tools that had to be implemented. For example, as to the community, as to the public involvement. Now we stepped back from that approach, and our overall objective is to build up stronger dialogue between broad public and the local government. We will focus more on cooperation with journalists, and we expect that UCMC will play its role in this aspect. I would like to wish a lot of patience to local communities. We're going to you and we will do our best to speed up all the procurements to provide you with all the necessities. We are very much awaiting for the liberation of those communities who had been occupied since almost February 24th. But nevertheless, we had been preserved connection with them. Nevertheless, 70% of those occupied communities, they preserved ties with us, and we are longing for their liberation. We are waiting for it very much, and we'll meet again, of course. We are very happy that now we can build up our cooperation for another 3 years, and we will work hard to see our joint future full of bright perspectives. I can see more and more questions from chat and social networks, and I would like to remind you that Dobre program is about partnership. And it has good partners: Ukrainian Crisis Media Center, Polish Association for the Local Democracy Development, and other partners. Today we have Mr. Valery Chale, Chairman of the Board of Ukrainian Crisis Media Center. Mr. Chale, what would you like to recollect from the previous Dobre program experience? Ukrainian Crisis Media Center, where I have a privilege to be chairman of the board, has a long-term background of cooperation with USAID, and I believe this project is a good chance to develop cooperation between broad public and the governments. I believe that this is a good example of successful USAID projects. During my stay in Washington, D.C., as Ukrainian ambassador, I made that observation that it was good cooperation, and now we witness how that strong cooperation allowed many local communities to survive, to demonstrate their resilience under worst circumstances. I visited many local communities which were liberated and they show how they continue to implement the things which were done before the war. Of course, there are many tragic things. Many members of local communities perished in this war because they defended their land, and always I try to focus my attention on the southern east of Ukraine. For me, as an expert in international security, it was clear that the biggest threat was coming from the southern east, and the life had proved that it was true. And I'm now very happy that DOBRE program extended its work in Ukraine, and this is extremely good because you cannot reach the best result based only on the government efforts. I believe that decentralization reform, which became a symbol of the new stage of Ukraine's development, has a good chances to be developed further. Irina, who represented USAID in the program, and the whole team which contributed to the program during all that years, they have created very good team, and we are eager to resume our work, to activate it, and I will do my best to speed up visa issuance for Mr. Campbell, and I wish you a lot of inspiration and a lot of success during the new period of your work in Ukraine. Thank you, Valerie. By today, DOBRE program had been working in 10 regions, and we had a memoranda of cooperation with those regions, and Chernihiv region was among the latest who had joined the program. That year, many local communities were deoccupied, and recently we visited Nizhinska, Novgorod-Siverska, and Koryukivska local communities, and we were very much impressed with the level of mobilization among population. I'm happy to invite Mr. Vyacheslav Chaus from Chernihiv military administration to the floor. I am here. Wish you good afternoon, dear colleagues and partners. I am very pleased to participate in today's press conference. I would like to start with the words of appreciation and thanks. First of all, I would like to thank to American people and to USAID and to all the international organizations who support Ukraine and have been supporting it for all that time. In Chernihiv, we had implemented the DOBRE projects in 10 local communities that were multiple and very interesting projects. While before the war, we were aiming the development and building up of local communities. Today, we are aiming the reconstruction. As of now, we have almost 10,000 ruined property objects. We have losses among civil population. A lot of damage was done to Chernigiv region. And today I would like to mention about Kopychevska community, which procured expensive equipment for establishing a sewing manufacturing, and during occupation that production was ruined, and nevertheless after deoccupation they managed to restore all the premises, all the equipment, and they revived their work. They resumed their work quite recently. This is very good example. Almost $850,000 of support were invested into the region during last years, and that contributed very much to the development of the region. And Dobre program has held more than 200 educational events in the region that raised considerably the awareness of local people about what they can do to strengthen their local governance and development. I'm very happy that Dobre program is extended for another 3 years in Ukraine. And many experts from the United States today help Chernigiv region in its reconstruction, and I expect to have many initiatives aimed at reconstruction of Chernigiv region on the framework of Dobre program. Thank you, Mr. Vyacheslav. And from Chernigiv, we go now to Kirovohrad region, and we have today a video address from Mr. Andrei Raikovich. I'm happy to welcome you from the heart of Ukraine, from Kirovohrad region. For me, it's rather easy to see the outcomes of positive cooperation between our region and Dobre program in the area of decentralization. From the beginning of the full-scale war, I have changed my local self-government's position to the position in military administration. Before the war, we carried out a lot of projects in education, in decentralization, in local self-governments, in infrastructure. We were very happy to have that partnership with Dobre program. Unfortunately, with the beginning of full-scale war, we had to terminate the majority of our ambitious projects. We are now very happy to realize that we are among those 7 regions that were among the most successful regions implementing Dobre program. During this period of war, when the enemies tried to extinguish our power sector, each additional hryvnia is very useful for Ukraine. We try to find additional power resources in Kirovohrad region, we have more than 100,000 IDPs, and for them, we need power generators, we need the sources of independent power supplies, we need a lot of humanitarian aid, places for accommodation, beds, etc. And we are very grateful for each financial contribution and each piece of support which is given to us. Of course, the war is a chance to master new skills and to learn how to counteract drones and shellings, how to defend your life, how to manage your land, and how to accommodate to new realities, and how to respond to the damage of infrastructure. We have a lot of things to get done, and I wish a lot of success to Dobre program. Dobre is associated with very positive things, with very successful things, with good achievements for all of us. Thank you. Thank you, Kirovohrad region. And today here we have a representative from the All Ukrainian Association of Amalgamated Communities, Ms. Valentina Poltavets, CEO of this association. How do you think how Dobre program should work in today's conditions? Good afternoon. I'm very happy that Dobre program is extended for another 3 years. Answering your question and also keeping in mind what I would like to say, I have to emphasize that Dobre program was one of the most successful, if not the most successful, projects that had been being implemented since 2016. Although these were several dozens of communities who received assistance from the program, but for them it was extremely important. Decentralization reform, in course of which amalgamated communities were established, provided not so many answers to the questions that newly amalgamated communities had been asking. And while the program provided answers how to develop economy in the local communities, how to build up civil society in that the newly established amalgamated communities. So that extended approach to the municipal management proved to be very useful to the newborn communities. And we were very happy to be a partner of Dobre program for the last 4 years. And we contributed to the to what was done in the project, in the local communities on the project framework. And what is even more important, we had the chances to disseminate the best practices gained by project participants to share that best practices among other members of our association. That is what Angela mentioned. That was not just technical assistance. It was actually good training when local communities were trained new skills, how to work. And another good result of the previous work was resilience demonstrated by local communities on the framework of our network. In the first days of the war, when a lot of IDPs rushed in the depths of the country, local communities showed a high level of organizational resilience, and they proved to be fully capable to deploy all those people. Today, we provide very practical assistance, for example, to Kharkiv communities, the occupied communities, which are fully robbed with Russians, who have absolutely nothing left after occupation. We procure the emergency equipment for them as an association and try to help them. Actually, this high solidarity and high consolidation had been prepared by the previous events like budget, Oscar, and a lot of useful skills which were built up during a pre-war period. That's why we are very happy that now we have a chance to extend our reliable partnership with DOBRE Program. We had established very good cooperation in all the areas of program work, in the economic field, in public awareness field, in communication field, etc. We have built up good projects, and we observe how this movement in local communities has become strong, and we expect that this impetus will grow in the future. Today we feel ourselves at the front line of local self-governments, even in the occupied territories where there were no Ukrainian national administration. The local self-governance stayed in place and worked on site. That's why I would like to thank once again to our American partners, to our Ukrainian colleagues, and we hope for productive further cooperation. I would like also to thank to American people who, through such very important programs, assist to the development of democracy, of freedom, of independence of Ukraine, just like in many other countries. And I should say that this allows us to survive these days, both in terms of morals and physically. Now, let us start our Q&A session. Today, we have many journalists here in the room and online. I'm a representative of amalgamated community in Chernihiv. My question is about Chernihiv region and the program and DOBRE program. We have 10 communities who are partners of your program in the region, but we have some other local communities who were deoccupied and suffered very much. Whether they have chances to join you, whether it is possible for Novgorod's Siverska community who are under intensive shellings now, whether they can join the program. And and when we can start the submission of our projects, and with which local communities you will cease cooperation by the moment when they are liberated. As of now, we do not plan to extend the number of local communities from Chernihiv region, but if the occupation of some other local communities continues, we will review our approach to the extension among communities. Now we have emergency project for Chernihiv communities, among others, and very soon they will get the equipment which they requested. Now about the projects which we seized to support. We had good projects on tourism support in Chernihiv region. Of course, we had to suspend them because tourism development is not the priority. This was actually initiated by local communities. Local communities, for example, suggested to substitute tourism development for the improvement of healthcare services in local community, which is more topical for them now. Next question. Hello, I'm Olena Tsitsura from Kropivnitsky, Kirovograd region. Which communities from Kirovogradsk region you plan to involve, and what do you plan to do with these communities? In Kirovogradsk region, we remain in partnership with almost the same communities with whom we worked at the first stage, and we plan to involve 2 other local communities. Now we are at the stage of signing memoranda with them. The priorities in Kirovograd region will remain almost the same: local economic development, improvement of services, involvement of broad public, as well as on IDPs, which are quite numerous in the region. Actually, we have a standard package of programs which we have an offer with some additional emphasis made from the local communities. What additional local communities are you planning to involve? I think it's a bit early to announce. During the next 2 weeks, we will publish 2 additional local communities on the website of UCMC. Next question. Dear friends, I'm Natalia Hmaria from Ternopil, newspaper Golos Ternopilshchiny. We are very grateful to our Dobre program and partners from UCMC. And now my question. What number of applications could be reviewed now? What number of applications will be accepted? And for those regions who accommodate IDPs who provide volunteering support, which assistance they may apply for. The next stage of the program will focus on the regions that suffered most from combat activities, but we do not forget about Ternopil, Ivano-Frankivsk, and the Chernivtsi regions who provided shelter to IDPs. As for the priorities among the projects, I can point out to our standard procedure, which is on our website. Initially, we announced a project call, but before that, we carry out big preparatory work. For example, before applying for some equipment, local community puts forward their needs, formulate what they need, etc. You may trust me that all the communities are in close contact with us. They know when the project calls are announced and when they have to apply applications. Not all the communities in the second phase will get equal financial resources for support. Of course, Kherson, Kharkiv, and Zaporizhia regions will get more resources on the equipment and material support. They will get more support than the Western local communities, which of course suffer from shelling, but incomparably to the Eastern and Southeastern local communities. We have to maintain communication. You have very good relations with us, and I believe that during the next stage we will implement a lot of projects in support of internally displaced people and on further local development, just like it was at the previous stage. Shirokivska local community from Zaporizhia region. Whether you plan to cooperate with occupied communities and with the communities along the contact line. Thank you for your question. Zaporizhia region, Shirokivska community had become a local aid hub in the region. Now, in the Zaporizhia region, we cooperate with 5 communities, and 3 communities out of them remain in the occupation. But even in the occupation, we are carrying out some activities which I would not describe here. Also, we provide assistance to Volokopilya and the Shirokiv local communities. On February 24th, when we were at the final stage of closing the project, but after February, we found out that a lot of communities required assistance. A lot of humanitarian assistance was sent to Shirokin local community. We are looking forward to the deoccupation of Zaporizhia region and of coming back of local communities. and we still hope that all the 5 communities which are in our list will eventually get the assistance, and at later stage we will think about extension of this support on other communities. Людмила Пархоменко, Деснянська Правда newspaper from Chernigiv region. Chernigiv region was under occupation. What novelties will you have in your work with those communities which suffered from occupation? Whether you plan any psychological trainings for people after the occupation, because I think this is one of the problems today. And we had very positive experience with the DOBRE program at the previous stage, and I would like to assure you that we are ready to continue this cooperation. Thank you about your thank you for your question about psychological support. Working with the public, we work through civil society organizations in local communities. In Chernigiv region, very soon we will choose an NGO which will deal with the public involvement in the region. Thus, this work will begin very soon. Of course, much here will depend on the security situation, and depending on the security situation, we will speed up this work in other regions. About novelties, there are many challenges, and we try to adapt our work to the new level of challenges. In some local communities, members of local self-governments, they left. They are either in other regions or even abroad of Ukraine. And with our Polish partners, we will work on strengthening capacity of local self-governments to revive the local government's work. A month ago, we had signed contracts, and nevertheless, we already started procurements. I can assure you that we are now coming to the local communities. Any further questions? Good afternoon. I have a question. This is Kropivnitsky. I'm editor-in-chief of Oblastne Slovo newspaper, Oksana. Our region has a specificity. We are basic region for deployment of internally displaced people. We receive evacuation trains every day, and this is a big load on infrastructure. And this is not just big, but smaller communities who accept IDPs. And we have a rather specific geographical position, and the commuting and transportation infrastructure, commuting infrastructure are the big problem. We need, for example, a bus route and bus routes which will allow IDPs to transport inside the region to get necessary services. So my question, whether DOBRE program has in mind any infrastructural projects. These are not just one community project, but this is infrastructural project which is general for the entire region. We had similar project in Kherson region before the war, where we assisted in launching the bus route. Unfortunately, during the war, everything was stolen by the occupants. And we have to start from scratch in Kherson region now. But this was just an example that we had experienced. Of course, we cannot resolve all the problems of all the communities. We will take just key points from each community where we can work efficiently. As for Kropivnitsky region, we have program specialists who deal with communities in the region, and we will come back to you to discuss these ideas. Thank you, colleagues. I would like to ask questions from social networks. Ms. Poltovets slightly mentioned about this issue, how communities who are not partners of DOBRE program, how they will get access to the program outputs. We have an Amalgamated Communities Association, who is our good partners, and all the major outputs of the project, of the program, they were disseminated via Association of Amalgamated Communities, because DOBRE program sooner or later will come to its end, and for us it is important to disseminate the outputs to preserve this institutional memory, how to improve services, how to improve local economic development. Then all the events which we held online, they are open for free of charge. They are open for attendance to all the communities. As for procurement of equipment for so-called hard projects, I do not expect that we will go beyond that 100 local communities with whom we work. If we speak about soft skills like or soft components like trainings, like skills development, Association of Amalgamated Communities is our key partner in all that, and we are open for participation of all the communities. As an association, we invite to our events not just the members of our association, but all the local communities. We are very open. We are very inclusive. All the methodologies, all the developed tools, everything that builds new skills, soft skills, etc., is opened for broad participation. And we have a website where we post our outputs. You may upload many interesting documents, you may upload videos, you may find a lot of interesting information there. So we encourage you to visit our website, and a question from Facebook, whether you plan to involve experts in the area of civil society dialogue, community dialogue, and mediation. Yes, that is what we plan to do. This is part of our component on public involvement, and here we will work via regional partnership organizations which will work in the regions. And if we see further need, we will open competitions for the experts to work with local communities. In Kyiv office, we have key experts in local financial development, municipal finance, public involvement, and also we involve some advisors additionally who visit communities on site, and last year we had additionally 50 consultants who worked with local communities. You may find information about that on space громадський простір. And those who are willing to participate in the contests and become experts in our program, you may look at that website. Whether you preserve the major principles, whether I understand that how you will work with the hard components. How do you plan to work with the soft components? In the second phase of our program, we will base our work on the best practices from the first phase. We managed to found the growth points for our program section, window of opportunity for local communities, transparency development. We always worked with the partner programs. Strengthening transparency will remain as the program aspect, but here we will focus more on budget transparency. Less emphasis will be on anti-corruption instruments, and one new area will be preparation of local communities to transparent accounting and the use of humanitarian aid, which will continue to arrive to local communities. DOBRE program has a key objective to demonstrate how the model community could function in Ukraine, and despite combat activities, despite the war circumstances in Ukraine, our approach remains the same. In order to be efficient, our local communities have to rely on local investments and have to be extremely transparent in terms of donor support. And to wrap up, I would like to unite several questions. Whether Zhytomyr, Odessa, Cherkasy regions and local communities can become partners of your program, and Zakarpattia region also. Unfortunately, now we are very much focused on our 10 target regions, but if the situation will change and we will see some opportunities to adjust our activities, We will do that. As for Transcarpathia, Odessa, and Zhytomyr regions, we have our partner project in USAID. I would like to encourage you to apply to that project. They have many good ideas, which they have for your regions. Thank you for your questions. I'd like to thank to all the speakers, to all the journalists. I wish to all the communities to be deoccupied very quickly together with Dobre Program.